This is the Bunny Slippers Are Evil Job Seekers Call-In Show. And now, a word from our sponsors. Evil Bunny Consulting is the job search alternative to expensive outplacement. For more information, go to bunnyslippersareevil.com. Let 3dresumes.net turn your resume into a web page with a customized domain for 12 months for only $30. Help hiring managers and recruiters find you and make your resume available 24/7 and get a free professional email address just for your job search. You can see my online resume at tyronegriffin.com, and to get your own, go to 3dresumes.net. If you are thinking or about to look for a job in today's world, you will find a new reality in the job search process. The world has changed. Job search today is much more complicated than 5 years ago. Volumes of resumes, more applicant screening systems, depersonalized applications, panel interviews, team hiring, long, complicated applications, branding and social media. Yes, the world has changed. But have you? Are you still trying yesterday's approach? Why struggle and miss out on today's opportunities? Career Oyster is here to help. Great coaches, the latest resources, unique strategies, person-tailored to your job search. Find out the new reality and how you can prevent costly mistakes. To register for a free 45-minute private lesson with Howard Caddy, go to careeroyster.com. Find the facts now. You'll be glad you did. Remember their motto, the world is your oyster, be the pearl.
Good morning. Today is Saturday, February 4th, 2017, and this is the Bunny Slippers Are Evil Job Seekers Call-In Show, presented by Evil Bunny Consulting. I'm your host, Tyrone Griffin, and if it's 3 p.m. and you have on your bunny slippers, you are not looking for a job. Welcome first-time and returning listeners. In this show, we discuss strategies and tactics of job search, staying motivated, and dealing with career transition. For more tips, resources, daily motivations, and to listen to archive shows, go to the website bunnyslippersareevil.com. There you will also find links to our Facebook page, our Twitter handle, and our YouTube channel. If you are listening live, you can call in with your questions at 347-202-0929 or hit me up on Facebook Live, either here, depending on how you have your screen oriented. So welcome and hope you enjoy the show. For the first and third Saturday of the month for this show, I do Bunny Slippers Are Evil. And the first Saturday of each month, I do job search Q&A. So this week, I'm answering your job questions. If you have a job question, you can type it in and I'll try to answer it right now. But I also have a few that I was sent during the week, so we'll try to answer those. Let me tilt this screen so you can see my Mr. Incredible t-shirt. Okay, this week, the big question that I was asked about is dealing with politics, particularly in job search and when you already have a job. First of all, anybody who's listening to this show, watching this show on Facebook, you've probably seen a lot of political stuff going back and forth. It's been like that for at least 8-9 years. You got to be careful. Dealing with politics, and I'm not going to get into who I voted for because that's irrelevant. But here's the thing. We have freedom of speech in this country. Depending on how you define it, we have freedom of speech. You can you can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater. So to some extent, people say we don't have freedom of speech, but we have freedom of thought. Some people like to express that thought. Particularly over the last 2 weeks since our current president was inaugurated there, and even before that, it was getting pretty bad. A lot of people giving their opinions on a lot of different things. And we've seen the stories. People have lost their jobs because of things they put in social media. And their defense is what I say in social media is my own business. Well, you know what? To some extent it is, but at the same time, here's the thing. Before social media, and I've made this comment before. I said our reach extends beyond our grasp. It happened with the internet. It's happening now with social media. It's even happening, to some might say, with Facebook Live. Before social media was a thing, we had to read newspapers. And people used to write letters to the editor. That's how they expressed their opinions on different things. Some people did it anonymously. Some people did it with their name. They were proud of their opinion. But the people that had, it was happening then. If you had an extremist position, say hypothetically, if you felt that that pedophilia was okay, if you felt that that was fine, legally you have the right to say that. Ethically, morally, intellectually, you probably shouldn't have, but you have that right. But just because you have the right doesn't mean you can use the right. Right now, the N word is not right now, for the last 10, 15 years. Well, and longer than that, in the black community, has been something that has started many a fight. We see videos even now where somebody will use a word like that against somebody and get the brakes beat off them. And people say, well, because people use it, people of color use it on themselves, why can't I use it? There's a whole discussion, I won't have it here, but there's a whole discussion about why people use that word. I'm not condoning it, I'm not condemning it. There's a whole discussion, hey Vince, about why people use some terms, okay? It's not about the word, it's the feeling behind the word. Remember, words are a collection of sounds, but they let you know how somebody feels about you. And again, I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole different, maybe I will talk about that one day, but that's a whole nother conversation about words and names and name calling and all that kind of thing. But anyway, what I'm saying, before social media was there, people were saying extremist things. People were saying things they may use a pseudonym. They may write a letter to the editor. The difference with social media, and when you wrote letters to the editor, okay, it's in the archive somewhere. It can be found now, easy to be found. But back then, people didn't think about, I'm not going to go and look up the letters to the editor for every paper in America to see if my candidate for a job has ever said anything under his or her name. Now it's a click. You can search somebody's name and find anything they've ever said. Social media, not only is things you say easy to find, you say things you can't take back. You once you say it, it's out there. Once you post it, it's there for the world to see. The commercials a couple of years ago where they showed the young girls who would send a sexy picture to her boyfriend, and then he would post it to all his friends, and then she got in trouble for sending nude pictures, because she sent it to that one person. You can't undo some things. The saying here in the South, you can't put the crap back in the horse, okay? Once it's out, it's out. I know, sorry about that visual, but hey, we're in the South. That's how we roll. But with social media, particularly, our reach extends beyond our grasp for a lot of us. During the last campaign, again, I'm not going to get into whose side you're on, but there were people, obviously on both sides, who made some very extreme, who said some very extreme things, who did some very extreme things. And they did those things proudly because they were a proud American or a proud whatever they felt they were. And in many of those cases, those people ended up losing their jobs. And their defense was, well, what I do on my personal time is my business. Understand this. You are representing the company you work for all the time. You say, well, I didn't sign up for that, but that's the reality. You are representing that company all the time. Okay? Excuse me. You don't think so? How many bank tellers have you seen with Mike Tyson's tattoos on their eye? How many have had nose rings? But seriously, how many have had blue hair? How many have, just had, you see that guy with the holes in his mouth and everything? That dude ain't working at the bank. He may be very qualified, but he's not working at the bank because it's not just about what's on your resume. It's about the image that you portray. And he can say, well, when I'm on bank property, I'll dress this way. When I'm off bank property, I'll do whatever I want. That's like saying, you know what? Yeah, you're gonna come to work, nice suit and tie or dress or whatever, sports pantsuit, whatever, look very professional, and you're gonna walk out the front of the bank and rip it off and be butt naked and walk home. Off the bank property. You're always representing your employer. Well, social media has made that easier and just more prevalent. You're always representing your employee. Now, it's not fair. It is what it is. So if you don't be surprised, there are people that have had government jobs and have lost their jobs because they want to take an extreme position either in their job, which is, look, if you ain't doing your job, if your religious or moral beliefs prevent you from doing your job that you are being paid to do, you need to leave your job. Period. If your religious moral beliefs prevent you from doing the job you are being compensated to do, then you need to leave your job. Period. Yep, Vince, that's Vince, that comment very well. You always present your best. Unless, even if I was going for a job in a garage, thanks for saying that, Vince, I would always wear a suit. People say, well, they're not wearing, I want to give my best impression. Thanks, Vince, for saying that. But anyway, I was saying people have lost their jobs, and people think it's wrong that they lost their jobs because of their political beliefs. You didn't lose your job before your political belief. You lost your job because you brought your political beliefs into the company, and the company was not paying you for your political beliefs. And I'll say this at the same token. I had a boss, and this true story. When Barack Obama was elected for a second term, the day of the election, the day after, we had a happy hour scheduled, and this boss and his whole team. And we got to the place of some bar at a hotel or somewhere. We were going for a happy hour. And the first thing he said, now this is the boss of the whole organization that I was working for, the highest ranking person in the room at that point. And he says, I'm pissed. I don't want to talk about politics right now. Nobody has said a word about politics. Nobody has said anything about anything. His organization was multiracial. Nobody has said a word about politics. We just got to the place and we were just, getting our seats. And the boss said that what he did, and it was a he set the tone for the rest of that happy hour. Because basically what he said was, here's how I believe, and if you don't like it, you better keep quiet about it. That's the reality. He was saying, and I mean, I was there. I wasn't the only one there. Witnesses that were there. And what he said and what he meant were slightly different, but not that much different. People feel empowered when their candidate wins an office. When their candidate, it's not just in politics. People feel empowered when the person that they like gets a promotion to a certain powerful position. If there's a power struggle of which way we're going to do. A couple of years ago, I think Disney had this big power struggle of which executive was going to become the CEO next. And, the guy who didn't win, everybody know, okay, he didn't win, so they just, he kindly left. But people feel empowered, emboldened, particularly now. People feel emboldened when their candidate wins. At the same time, people feel emboldened when their candidate loses. If you saw some of the primaries, when certain candidates lost, their followers got real vocal and real personal about what they felt about the other candidate. I mean, it is honestly funny some of the names people get called. But anyway, my point with this is you have to watch what you say. Again, that manager that he was a director of mine, he felt totally comfortable saying what he said to his whole organization. He probably doesn't realize, the chilling effect, or maybe he did realize the chilling effect it had on his organization, on people feeling free to express themselves. Maybe that was his intention. But at the same time, as a result of that, to him, maybe when his anger got over the election, we still remember that. Okay? How is the new establishment going to affect small business in the short or long term? Wow, that's a deep question, Vince. Thank you. How are they going to affect small business? This is just totally my opinion. And I meant to say earlier in the show, when I do my other show, The Secret Math of Money, one of the things I do at the beginning of that show every other week when I do it is I caveat that I'm not a financial advisor. I caveat up to yin yang on that show. Okay. This is kind of veering off the course, but I'm going to try to see if I can give an answer. And again, this is just my opinion. How do I think the new administration will be for small business? It depends on how you define small businesses. If your small business is 100 employees or more, I think there will be opportunities for this administration to do some things that will be felt as positive by the small business. I think for smaller businesses, I don't know. As an owner of a small business, a very small business, I'm not sure if things will be better. I'll say that. I just don't know. I'm trying to hedge my bets, because if you're a really small business, you're basically an individual, So yeah, that's a good question, and watch my other show. Watch Secret Math of Money be on next week, and I'll try to answer that question a little bit more. I'll go into a little bit more what I think and why, what I think is going to happen over the next couple of years. Just my opinion. But yeah, Vince, thank you for that question. I'm going to write that down, and that's what I'm going to, excuse me, I'm going to touch that. Excuse me, I'm going to address that, give my opinion on that next week. Anyway, but getting back to politics and job search and in careers. My point is this. You can't say everything. Even, this director, he felt emboldened because he was head of that organization. Had he had a peer there, or had his senior officer or manager had been there and did not share his political beliefs. And yeah, you know what? I say that concerning my wife as an author with 3 people. Yeah, yep, great author too, Vince, by the way, your wife. Had he had a peer there or a senior manager there who had a different political perspective. And, we don't talk about politics at work, but everybody kind of knows who's voting for who. Just in general conversation, you kind of know. But had he had somebody, he probably wouldn't have said anything. I don't know. He might have. I don't know. He might have. Career be darned. But anyway, so if my point is this, if the reality is we have freedom of speech, but we don't have freedom of stupid. Okay, you cannot yell fire in a crowded movie theater and say freedom of speech. If you choose to stand up and dress, and this sounds very racist, and I don't mean it to be that way. If you choose to stand up in a crowded area dressed as a Muslim or person with Middle Eastern descent with a fake vest, a vest with what looks like bombs on it, and you stand up and yell some Muslim chant really loud, and people scream right in all directions, or you get shot in the head because you scared people, and it was a prank. You see these things going around Facebook, like these pranks where the guy would be dressed as a Middle Eastern and he'll drop a bag and run and just watch everybody scatter. And it's really nice and funny until somebody has a gun and blows his brains out. Okay, that's one of those kind of pranks where I'm waiting for it to happen. Because again, it's freedom of speech, but it's also freedom of stupid. Okay, and it's stupid to do that. But anyway, my point again, we don't have. You got to use some sense. If you are if you're in job search right now, if you're looking for a job, unless you are looking for a job in a specific political arena, I would not voice my opinion verbally or physically or on video how I felt about the election. Either way. Unless you are looking for a job in a specific area that is very political and it leans one way or the other, I wouldn't do it. Because people can look up your social media very, very easily. And you may look great on paper. But I'll be honest, if if I was hiring somebody, looking to hire somebody, and I looked up on social media and saw that they were advocating a position that I truly didn't believe in, or truly felt was totally against what I believed, I would be, as the business owner, as the hiring manager, it is up to me to make the decision of who I feel comfortable with. And just like people have been kicked off of planes over the last year because somebody didn't feel comfortable with them, I could refuse to hire you because I don't feel comfortable with you. Particularly if I have a home-based business and you're going to be coming into my house every day or a couple of times a week, and I have a political perspective that is totally against yours, you could be a great collaborator, but at some point, I'm going to say something, or you're going to say something. Okay? What's up, Steve? If you coming into my house every day, and I mean, this is extremist, and you advocate that we should never got rid of slavery, we going to have a problem. I'm just letting you know that. So first day you come in with a helmet on because it's on, all right? Particularly in my house. That's just the reality of it. If there are men, and I got to bash men because we do some stupid stuff sometimes. We'll get in an interview and make a sexist comment to the woman interviewing them. I think that, woman's place is in the home. Really, bro? The woman is sitting across from you is the one going to be your boss if you get this job. But you telling her, I think your place is really, you shouldn't even be here. Like I said, freedom of speech is not freedom of stupid. Okay? Your political beliefs are yours. Okay? You have the right to have them. If you want to think like a skinhead, if you want to think like a Nazi, if you want to think like a communist or racist, if you want to think those ways, that is your right. Boom, Vince, perfect. Just because weed is legal, if I see you lit up, like I said, our grasp and our reach are not equal. We can do it, but we don't understand it. How many times you heard the story of different thieves, crooks getting caught because they robbed the bank, they got away with it, and what did they do? They went home, threw all the money on the bed, and rolled around and ended up talking about, yo, West Side, and we just robbed this bank. Really, bro? Really? Really? Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, but yeah, that's a good point. It is freedom of, it just is not. So anyway, your political beliefs, you have the right to have them, but you have the right to say them, but you would be stupid sometimes for saying them. I grew up in the North. I now live in the South. One of the things that I noticed very differently about the North and the South, in the office, people talk about politics freely. In the South, we don't talk about them. I mean, when I was up in the North, when Gore versus Bush, and man, we were cutting out the newspaper. Back when we used to read newspapers every day, we were cutting articles out of the newspaper, posting them on the bulletin board in defense of both sides. It was crazy. I come down to the South, and I love the South, man. Ain't no snow except when it is, and then, we freak out. But we don't do it. That's just how people are. So I won't go to work with a shirt with any politician's name on it, regardless of who I believe or not. I won't go to work I won't wear it to the supermarket. I wear Mr. Incredible, but I wouldn't wear a T-shirt that has the name, the picture, the image of a person who is running for office right there. My political beliefs are just mine. Okay. If anybody follows me on social media, and you all should, because I'm cool. I post a lot of stuff. It's very evident what my political positions are. I don't try to hide them. But at the same time, I try to be, and I don't always succeed, but I try to be very careful giving an opinion that is not based in some fact. Okay. Sometimes you can just repost an article and say, yep, see what I'm talking about? I've had some of my classmates, the NFA class of 1984, they know we have had some of the most spirited debates about politics. I respect them. I respect their opinion, and we can have some very vigorous debates. The fact that we continue to have those debates, I think, says a lot for the respect we have for each other's opinion. Okay, because even though we can go back and forth, there's a whole thing about diplomacy, and I'm not even going to go into it here, but diplomacy is very important in politics and out of politics. And a lot of people don't get that. You want to express your opinion. Okay, you want to express your political opinion, and you're in job search. Get a pseudonym. Okay, get a pseudonym. A lot of people do it. You don't think so? You look at some of the names in your Facebook friends list. I'm like, who that? Who is this person's real name? Ain't nobody really named that. I know one of my friends who's a guy I grew up with. He played ball with him. He's an actor. And the only reason I knew, I friended him because I saw his face, and I said, "Oh, that's so and so." And then I clicked on it, like, yeah, oh, okay, but that's him. People get pseudonyms for a variety of different reasons. Pen names, all that good stuff. Women got pen names back 100 years ago, even now, as authors, because men, their books wouldn't be published if people thought it was a men. Right, there you go. That's just how we do it. But if you want to get really stupid politically, you really say, you know what? I have these very extreme positions, and I want to say them, but I don't want to lose my job. Get a pseudonym. I'm not giving you a right to hate. I'm just saying, don't be stupid. Remember, we don't have a right to stupid. Freedom of stupid. I need to put that on a t-shirt. But anyway, and there's other thing. The reason I say that, freedom of speech versus freedom of stupid, because there's this meme going around about, the president can say these things about people because he got bodyguards. You don't. Remember that. He has a 4-year guaranteed job unless Senate, Congress get, do something else. You don't have that guaranteed job. Okay? So you got to be careful what you say. Whether you like it or not, you got to be careful. So if you want to express, get a pseudonym, but don't put pictures of your family on your Facebook profile of that pseudonym because people can figure out who you are. If you want to get stupid, but then if you really have to get a pseudonym because you got really extreme positions, you need to think about why you got those extreme positions. Okay, that's something, that's a whole psychological issue that I'm not going to get into. But if you don't want to get a pseudonym, I would say this. If you have, in social media in general, unless you're on LinkedIn, never put who you work for because you are not represented. Unless you are the spokesperson for that company, don't post that I work for so-and-so and this is how I feel. Because you're dragging them into some stuff. Even if it's some good stuff, they don't, the HR, the public relations department tell you, look, dude, we might agree with you, but we don't want you being the one saying it for us. We have a whole department of people that get up and speak for the company. You don't speak for the company. So that's the one. If you want, get a pseudonym, get a fake name, not fake news, fake name. Don't connect your company with your opinions. Don't say, well, I work for so-and-so, and they feel like we talk about this in the office, and they feel like, don't do that. Okay? Because you don't speak for the company. You are not the official spokesperson for your company. I try never, people who know me, know who I work for, love my company. But I never try to connect the two. I never try to use the name of that company. Thank God, I've worked for several large companies in different industries. I've been blessed like that. But I never, if you look at my LinkedIn profile, you can see who I work for. But I don't put it on my Facebook feed. I don't put it on my Twitter feed. I'm not that company. I've worked for companies that have taken stances that I didn't necessarily believe in or necessarily agree with. I'll say that. I didn't say anything about it. I'm very careful what I say. People also want to think about adding people you work with as Facebook friends. Yes. I have a few friends I work with who are my Facebook friends. Very few. Okay, very few. Be careful about that. Make them your Facebook friends because everything you post, they see. Okay, that can't end nicely. Most times, that really can't end nicely. You want to copy and paste something you post on Facebook and send it to them as a text message. That's cool. I got about a minute and a half left, and I always surprised that I can talk this much. I'm a nice, quiet guy usually. I was gonna make sure I hit all my points. But again, get a pseudonym if you have to. Don't connect your company with your comments, whether they be good or bad. If your company wants to connect you with them because of something good you've done, that's them. Let them do that, but don't you do that. If you're in job search, don't post no crazy mess unless you're specifically looking for a job in that crazy mess area of the country. And even if you're not, here's the thing: if you're looking for a job there and you don't get it, and then you got to look for a job somewhere else, people remember what you used to say. Tommy Lauren. She's very conservative now. Man, they digging up stuff from like 3 years ago, but she was very liberal. So it's like, which one is you? You don't want to give people that impression that you're lying. There are consequences, always. Be careful. Okay, the result is the companies use a pseudonym. Careful if you're giving in the bank. Okay. Anyway, so that was the point. Bottom line is this: if you're in job search or if you're in job, don't connect your company. Politics is the third rail, and it's hot, especially right now. It's been hot for years, but it's even more hotter now. Don't fall into that mess. If you want to post your opinion, there's very ways. Be very political. Be very tactical. Be very careful what you say in social media. Okay. Anyway, everybody, thank you again. That's it. Hope you enjoyed the show. Yeah, it gets crazy. Next week is The Secret Math of Money. So we're doing that show next week. So with that, I'm going to end this. Everybody who tuned in, thank you so much. I appreciate your questions. I appreciate your well wishes and all that good stuff. And we will talk again next week. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.